Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. Lots of cool stuff to go over in today's video. We are in the middle of a big parts acquisition phase to allow us to work on and finish off a number of projects around the Lego room. In total at the moment, we've got 37 Bricklink orders. 28 of them have arrived, and I'm working on sorting those out and getting them ready to use for various projects. And we've got 9 more that we're waiting on, which will hopefully come in over the next week or so. We've also picked up a number of additional base plates, a whole bunch of lighting, wires, lights, etc., that will allow us to do some really cool projects, not only around the city and the yard area here, but also around the track loop that we have moving around the entire layout. So lots of cool stuff there. Couple of specific things that I'm really looking forward to getting finished off. You can see here the track sidings that I've got on both sides of this end of the table. I've already started using some of the parts to finish that off. You can see the pink 2x8s that are underneath the track pieces there. A little bit more work to do to get those track pieces sort of finished off and mounted on the base plates, but getting close. And we should be able to finish that off for the most part, I think, with the parts that we've already ordered. So really looking forward to getting that squared away. We've also got a whole bunch of stuff that we're doing around the grain elevator train yard area. In particular, looking forward to finishing the roof off there on the grain elevator support building. But lots of cool stuff. First off, let's take a bit of a deep dive into the parts that we've received so far from Bricklink. We'll take a look at the lighting order, and then we'll spend some time looking at some of the buildings and the train car that we're going to be building in the short term with the parts that have come in these orders. So let's dive in. Bit of parts mayhem at the moment, as you can see here. Trying to get everything out of the plastic bags that they get shipped in, and make sure we've got the correct number of everything. Make sure that everything's clean and ready to be used throughout the layout on the various projects that we have going on. A few things to note in particular, you'll see we've picked up a bunch of those pink 2x8. Those are going under all of the straight track as part of the ballasting process. You saw a whole bunch of those are already in use, but we've also got a whole bunch of the 2x8s in the dark bluish gray, which will be allowing, that's the exterior 2x8s for all of those track sections. So lots of support brick in here, as well as parts for different builds. You'll see as an example, we've got a whole bunch of 2x2s that I've ordered in some different colors that will facilitate some more Mills module building. Also making a big tree push, waiting on the parts for the trees, some of the parts anyways, for the trees that you see right over there. Looking to make a whole bunch more of those. We've got a lot of the 1x1 circular stud with the hole in the middle pieces that will go with the white barrel like pieces are in here too. I can't see them offhand. Oh yeah, they're down there. Let's see here. Can lift that out. So these will go into making some more of those trees like we have down by the grain elevator currently. We've got some more leaf parts coming in, which will help with augmenting the leaf parts that we already have, but looking forward to adding a number of additional trees in that style. I think they've been working really well, and looking forward to having more just for the layout here in the Lego room, but also that we can take out to shows with us, because I think they work really well. You know, a great bit of scenery around the layout. An additional thing that I'm going to be doing here, though, and you'll notice we've got a lot of these stem pieces here. We're going to be building some evergreen trees. Really excited about these. I think they should be a great addition. I think I've picked up enough parts for at least 30 of them, give or take. That should give us a good initial chunk of evergreen trees. So it'll be nice. We'll have the, I guess really 3 types of trees then around the layout. We've got the cherry blossoms over there, which we need to get integrated, you know, into the layout a little better. We've got the trees down there, and then the evergreens. So that'll give us a good chunk of sort of tree variety. Other parts that we've picked up here, you'll notice a lot of the 4x4s and the 4x8s. I do have to say, I really dislike it when parts come from Bricklink sellers like this. These aren't too bad to get apart, but it's just kind of annoying to have to go through and pick everything apart. At least these are relatively easy. It's not the worst. You know, I guess there's efficiencies for shipping when things are a fixed size like that rather than all loose, but it does make it a little annoying when you have to go through and take everything apart. But, you know, we've got a number of the 4x4s and the 4x8s in different colors, the light gray, the black, we've got the dark bluish gray, some of the green here. So that's going to enable us to, you know, again, continue to work on some additional mills modules. Really looking forward to some of the buildings and other things that are going to be built with some of the parts here. We'll take a deeper look at those in a few minutes, but lots of sort of foundational parts in here, as well as parts for some of these buildings that you're going to see and learn more about in a few minutes. You'll notice in particular here, we've got lots of the white profile pieces similar to the ones that we use in the grain elevator. Those ones are red, but we've got a large number of the white ones here. And you'll see over here a large number of yellow ones as well. So those are going to be some pretty critical pieces for a few of the builds. You'll also notice quite a few sand blue parts. Probably can't really see too many of them at the moment with the pile the way it is, but we've got a number of those. You can see there's some 2x6s over there in that sand blue, and there's actually a bunch of sand green as well in here, which will be used for at least one of the buildings. So definitely some interesting and cool colors. I think they will all add a lot to the builds, but you know, a lot to sort through. It's a big, you know, I don't know about you guys, it's really sort of time consuming to go through Bricklink orders, especially when you get parts like this where you have to be taking them all apart. But I really want to try to get this as organized as possible, because I think it will pay dividends when I'm doing the building. It will make it a lot easier to find the parts that I need. Even if I just get some of these bigger pieces that are, you know, in bulk and a little more sorted, if I get those split out, should make it a lot easier to find the other parts that I need. But lots of cool stuff here. A couple other things that you will notice over here and over here. So we've got 27 new 32x32 base plates. Those will, you know, enable us to continue adding more mills modules to the layout. We've got some, I guess it's a bit of a mix. There's some bigger building footprints and some smaller ones, but looking forward to, being able to incorporate those new base plates into Mills modules. A number of these modules we're very much reaching the point where there's not going to be enough room on the top part of the layout. So we'll see, some of these are probably going to go into the bookcase initially when they are finished. So I can see them easily over there. But I also want to finish up moving and cleaning up some of this under layout stuff here so that I can get some of the wood in place and give myself a spot to start laying out Mills modules on the lower part of the layout here. We'll probably do another video in the next couple of days here as we go through and try to clean out and take stock of everything that we have underneath the tables. But, you know, like I said, we're very much getting to the point where we're not going to have, you know, a big enough footprint for some of these buildings to go into the upper part of the layout. So we'll have to have some side areas for them to live. And long term, the goal is that those modules, some of them could be in the lower layout, some of them could be on display. Other ones might be packed up and in storage. And then, you know, sometimes different ones will get taken out to shows. Sometimes we may swap in and out. I'll show you, like, for example, with the warehouse here, there's some options for swapping that in and out of the layout so we can get some other buildings that are of a similar footprint to that one on display periodically. So some interesting things that I think we can do there, but really happy to have those base plates. And it's probably worth noting, since you can see it in the background there, planning on building the Mario train there at some point this week. I would like to get that built, see how it works in its current state, and would like to either get that version of the train or an alternate sort of updated version that we might, you know, we could take some of the elements there and make our own versions of those train cars. But, you know, either way, I would like to get that working in a way that it can run around the layout. I think that would be a fun one to take out to train shows as well. You know, so we will, whether it's in its current format, I mean, we'll try the initial format, what the instructions stipulate. We'll see how that works, runs, and looks. But I definitely feel like we're going to be making some edits there and some updates to sort of advance that train forward into something even cooler that we can use both here on the layout in the basement as well as out at train shows. Now let's take a quick look over at the lighting order that we received. Now, there was a couple reasons for my lighting order, a couple different goals that I wanted to achieve. One, I needed some more of the wiring and the horizontal connectors to facilitate the different Mills modules I'm adding to the city. So I'm hoping that we can get back into some of the city builds and working on the roadways, etc. there, now that we've got some more of the wires that we needed. There's a few, we've got a whole bunch more of the horizontal connectors, which will be useful for the city, as well as for the train yard industrial area. I started doing some work with the horizontal connectors down by the grain elevator. There's a couple of improvements I want to make there, and then I need to fan that out down. I'd basically like to have the warehouse down to the grain elevator all wired up for power with some lighting attached to that. So that's the goal there, but these parts will make it so that we can get going on some of those projects. Always difficult when you're short some of the sort of critical underlying pieces that you need for getting some of these projects off the ground. You'll see I also picked up some more boards here. We've got a 6-port adapter board. What was this one here? Oh yeah, more connecting cables, just different lengths. So yeah, that goes over there. In addition to that, we've also picked up a number of additional signal kits. So in total, if I counted these correctly, we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, so we've got 7 additional kits for the Lego Train signal controller and battery pack. If you guys haven't checked out the video that I did doing an initial quick test with the Lego Train signal lights, definitely recommend checking that out. Super impressed. And with these 7 here and the existing one that we had from before, that's 8 sets of lights. My goal is to have 2 sets of the individual lights like this. So we're going to pick 2 spots around the layout to have one of those signal lights on each side. So we'll have a direction that trains are going to go on each of the mainline tracks, and each side will have its own light. So there'll be 2 areas that do the single lights like this. And then my plan is with the other 2, the other 4 sets, I will make 2 areas around the layout that have the overhead signal tower, whatever you want to call it, where the lights are mounted into that structure above the track. I think that should be really cool. I really like the idea of having a couple different types of the signal infrastructure builds around the layout. And I want to get those, start working out the powering for those, figure out where the sensor, the infrared sensor should go for that. Are we going to be able to embed it nicely into the underside of the track? How is the power going to get out to the track mills modules from either the rail yard industrial area or the city? So it should be cool to solve some of those problems, and ultimately is going to be really awesome to start getting these active and fully sort of on and integrated into the layout. So as we're running trains around, you can really start to appreciate some of this secondary lighting and, just the realism that it's going to bring as well. So really looking forward to these. Like I said, my initial test was super happy with how it worked, and looking forward to now rolling this out and integrating it fully into our layout here in the Lego room. And then, we can even see if we can get it working well enough and robustly enough that we can take it out to shows as well. I think it would be really cool to have working signal lights like these on the layout when we're out at a show. So, mostly foundational pieces here, boards and wires, but really looking forward to all the cool stuff that this is going to unlock for us around the layout here, and should be a lot of fun. Going to be probably some little hiccups as we go and integrate and try to sort of find the best way for some of these things to be integrated as we work power throughout the layout as a whole, really. Up to this point, it's mostly been focused in the city, but really looking forward to getting these things integrated. One other quick thing I want to highlight here. I talked a little bit about this last year, but didn't get around to doing it. I'm going to be building the Lego Up house in such a way that we can have it floating up above the layout here in the Lego room, but also really want to have this ready to display at a show as well. I've got some instructions that I found on Rebrickable for adding a back to this house. I've got some nice clear panel pieces that are coming that I think will work well for the elevation part. So we can have it lifted up into the air and supported by those clear panel pieces. Should basically look like it's floating. I think it'll work fairly well. So really happy about this. I think it's going to be a great sort of extra fun display element to have around the layout. It's something that kids should notice and think is cool. And I think it'll just add, just another cool element to the layout. I think it's neat to have things at different heights around the layout. And this should be something that we can have nicely raised up in the air. It's got some really nice color in the set as well. So excited about this. I think it'll be a cool little addition to not only the layout here, but what we have at our disposal to take out to train shows as well. So one of the buildings that was delayed a bit as I waited for my lighting wires, etc. to arrive was the old train engine shed. Really excited about this Bricklink designer program set. I think it looks amazing. It should be a great addition to the layout, and looking forward to jumping into building this set very, very soon. One of the things that I'm going to be looking at as I put this set together, I'm not convinced that the track is in the right spot as it stands right now to integrate seamlessly into not only our layout here in the Lego room, but into, layouts that we participate in at train shows. So I'm going to be looking at the changes that might need to be made in order to move these tracks in such a way as to make this module compliant with, what our modules are doing here in the Lego room and what's the sort of standard for Lego train layouts. That might mean that we push this sort of side track here off a little bit, or maybe onto its own sort of half module. And it may mean that we need to either shift the train shed itself, or we might need to play a little bit with the dimensions of the train shed to facilitate where this track needs to go. Hoping that it won't be too difficult. I think it should be fairly reasonable. And like I said, willing to do some different things. I think that it would be fine to split this track off if we need to move everything over, or the other option that's probably most likely going to happen is that we just need to do a little bit of work massaging the sort of where the walls end up and how big and where the entranceway is to the old train engine shed. Either way, really looking forward to getting this set built and integrated into the layout. It's something that I'm going to be working on over the next day or two. And, I think this is going to be a really fun addition. This is one of the buildings that I could see swapping in and out with the warehouse on the layout. It's got a similar footprint and sort of style of footprint. So I think it could be pretty much a one-to-one swap with the warehouse. So we'll see how that comes together. We'll get this all built and ready to go, and then we will not only do a video showcasing the build and any of the changes that we made here, but we'll talk a little bit and show how it integrates into the layout and where some of the different options are for it to be integrated into the layout. Awesome to have a cool building, but like I said, I really want this to be able to integrate in a really cool way in multiple spots around the layout. So, getting the footprint and everything just right is going to be a key part of that, but can't wait to see this in action around our layout. A couple things to note on this end of the layout over here. Still a bit crowded as we have our bridge prototypes over here, as well as some of our extra mills modules. I have a number of parts coming in these last few Bricklink orders, which should enable us to do most of the finishing touches on the lift out bridges there. And then after that, we'll go back to working on the slightly bigger lift out bridge over there. Can't wait to get these bridges finished. I think they should be a lot of fun. And, you know, like I mentioned, these are also something that'll get integrated into the lower layout underneath the main tables here. So another thing that will really benefit from getting some of the different boxes and parts and things out from underneath the layout here, so we can get going on some of the initial wood for the surfaces under there. But really glad that we've got parts coming there. We should be able to finish most of that off, and we'll see where things go from there. The other thing worth noting, we should be getting our Eiffel Tower lights soon. So I'm going to be making a push on the Eiffel Tower there to get that finished up and ready to go with the lighting kit once it arrives. Now, as I mentioned, we have parts in our Bricklink order to allow us to build 3 different structures that should be great additions around our layout, and will also be fun elements to have at our disposal when we're taking things to train shows. First up, we've got the Telegraph Tower from Brick Train Depot. Been really keen to make this particular module here. I kind of count this in the same group as the water tower over there. Smaller footprint module that can really sort of plug in anywhere around the track, both in the layout here in the Lego room, but also out at shows. So nice to have some smaller modules like this that give us some cool decor elements to pull from. We've also got the large freight house here from Brick Train Depot. Just a great building that I think should look awesome around the layout here. But again, another cool element that we can take out to shows. And then last but not least, we've got the vinegar factory. This is actually a module from Japaz that I purchased on Rebrickable. Not the greatest picture right here of the module, but I'll include a short video of what this module looks like as it was integrated into the LGMS layout at Brick Fair 2024. So as you can see, a really cool module. One of the things I really like about it is the fact that it has the track coming down through the middle portion of the module or the structure there, which I think is really cool. Nice to have track entering and around different modules in different ways. So I think this is a pretty cool one. Really like the color scheme for it too. This is obviously where a bunch of that white profile brick and the sand blue parts are going to go. Really keen on this. It's going to be, I believe, what is this now? I think it's actually 6 mils modules. Let's see, width is actually 2, and then the length is going to be, yeah, it's about 2 by 3 mils modules. So 6 mils modules in total. Fairly big footprint, but I think it should work out fairly well. And I like the fact that the bigger footprint is this way, going along the module, which might allow us to kind of sideways integrate it like it was in the LGMS layout at Brick Fair. I think that is a cool way to have it integrate. Some interesting things that I'm thinking about from a track perspective for this as well, that we'll talk about at some point in the next few days. But I think that's going to be a great module as well, and ultimately should feed into some of the things that we're thinking about for the agriculture and industrial complex, sort of part of the layout, not only here in the Lego room, but what we want to sort of grow towards for the modules that we can take out to shows. Now, in addition to those 3 modules that we have or will have all the parts for once the final Bricklink orders come in, I've also started to pick up parts for, and I'm starting to think about how to put together this next set of 5 modules here. It might take us a little while to assemble some of these, but I want to lay the initial groundwork and start building them up with the parts that we have in our collection, plus the parts that I've ordered for some of these. You'll notice, for example, the yellow profile brick is used by the Union Pacific Depot and the feed mill. So we've got some of the parts ordered here, but there's going to be more that each of these buildings needs. But like I said, trying to sort of kickstart and accelerate forward on some of the different modules that we want to, get going and have around the layout and have at our disposal, in addition to obviously trains, train cars and locomotives. So the different, there's 5 of them here, 5 different instruction sets. First one we'll take a look at, there's a awesome 2-engine shed that I found the instructions for on Rebrickable. This is from a user called Neo Sephiroth. This particular set of instructions didn't come with a part list that I could see, but I think I've got a number of the parts that are needed here. So I'm going to start looking at how to put this one together. Things that I really liked about this, I love the old train engine shed that was part of the Bricklink Designer program. I think that's going to be a nice one to have built and in our collection. I like the idea of having multiple train sheds though, and I like the fact that this is a 2-engine shed compared to the other one, which is just a 1-engine shed. Also really like the look of this tower integrated into the shed. There's some interesting machine, tool, etc. builds for the interior of this particular one as well. So I think this is a pretty interesting and, just in general, awesome looking build that will be a great addition to our collection. Up top here, we've got the Brick Train Depot Trackside Depot, and then we've got Japaz's Lego Union Pacific Shelton Depot. Looking to put both of these together. Don't really have a station around the layout yet, and I like the idea of having a couple of different stations, both for use here, where we could, if we wanted, swap things in and out. Have a station that fits in like sort of an allocated space around the layout for a station, and then we can swap different ones in over time based on ones that we build and what we want to have on the layout at a given moment. I think both of these are pretty cool. I really like the coloring of the Union Pacific one. I think it's got a nice footprint. It's definitely a smaller, it's not a very big station. Neither of these are huge, but I like some of the different elements that each of them brings. Different color style is also really nice. But I think both of these are going to be excellent additions. Like I said, don't have all the parts required for these yet, but with some of these initial parts that I've picked up and by pulling from what we have in our own collection, I think I can get a decent start on both of these, and then we can order as necessary to finish them off. And then the other two instruction sets here are additional buildings that will go well with the grain elevator, the vinegar factory, etc. in our agricultural and industrial complex area. So the Japaz feed mill. Pretty sure I'm going to go with the yellow here. I've seen this in other colors. We'll see. I'll probably start by using the yellow in the Union Pacific Depot, and then we'll see how much we still have and if I can find another color that might work equally as well, just to differentiate this particular building from other ones that people have built and from what we have in our own layout here. So looking forward to that one. I think it's just a really cool general sort of shape and look to that structure, the feed mill structure there. Then the other one is a cannery, and I think this one looks really nice from the outside. Also just a big fan of all the interior details that Japaz has put into this particular structure. And, you know, love the fact that this is another rail side structure. Got an outdoor loading area there for stuff to go on and off the trains. I think that both of these should be great additions to that sort of style of building that we're going for the agricultural industrial area. So, you know, 5 really cool instruction sets, a couple of them that we previously had picked up, but we just hadn't gotten around to building. These are all ones that are newly picked up. But like I said, we're going to be working on some of the foundational pieces for these. And then, you know, as necessary, we'll work on picking up the extra parts required for them. So in general, a ton of projects on the go, but really excited as these all start to move forward. Always great when you can get a large influx of new parts for facilitating a bunch of these projects. You know, like I mentioned, looking forward to getting the roof finished there on the support building for the grain elevator, and looking forward to putting the finishing touches on the lighting there so that we can get that all sealed in and start fanning that lighting out from there. Also worth noting, in our Bricklink order, did pick up a few more of the 16 by 32 base plates, which will help fill out this little section of the layout here and give a little extra length to the siding area there. The external track here and the internal track on that siding over there won't connect to the main line initially. I've got some thoughts there, some things I want to do, some track to potentially pick up. We'll talk more about that in an upcoming video. I also did mention with our Bricklink order, I have picked up the parts for the Brick Train Depot log car. Looking forward to getting that built and finished off and see how that looks. I think it should be really cool, and we can evaluate at that point then. It might be nice to build a few more of those and get them integrated into a train. Also looking to start diving into the different train cars and locomotive instructions that we picked up for the Orient Express. So we'll be finalizing some parts in for that. So really a ton of stuff going on and making a big push here as we are 3 weeks out from a little less than 3 weeks, I guess now. It's about 2.5 weeks until I need to have things ready to move out of the Lego room for a train show. So we're going to make a big push, see how much we can get done, see how well things will kind of come apart, move to the show, and then come back into the Lego room here. Always an interesting time when we have to sort of deconstruct things a little bit, pack them up and move them out. But looking forward to having some of these new modules and some of the updates that we've made to existing modules out at the show. Should be a lot of fun. So ultimately, tons of stuff ahead, coming up here over the next little bit in the layout, and we are still progressing on our ceiling track and the under table layout. So you can expect some updates on those in the next little while too, but those will probably slide a little bit into the background for the next couple weeks as we push on some of these modules and decor items that we will be taking out to the train show. And then once everything comes back into the layout, then we'll probably really be able to make some progress on those other layout sections. But lots of great stuff ahead. And like I said, I'll be taking a deeper dive into some of these different areas over the week as we're building and moving through some of the different tasks and projects in the Lego space. So definitely keep an eye out for those videos. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And thank you guys very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.